trillion bill. If you take climate change into consideration, that's the kind of money that we need. We've already made a significant compromise.
But would Senator, you consider a number less than $3.5 trillion?
No, right. Look, we're talking about numbers. You tell me what we should cut. Tell the working families of this country that we don't need to make child care affordable.
Providing for the common defense, protecting the American people, is one of the fundamental responsibilities our founders entrusted to the federal government. It's a core obligation of the Commander-in-Chief. Yet to a deadly degree, a parade of mistakes in Afghanistan tells us President Biden and his team have failed this most basic test of competence. For 20 years, the United States has successfully kept terrorists from staging another major attack on our homeland. Over the years, we've reduced our own military presence in Afghanistan, secured greater assistance from foreign partners, and supported local Afghan forces who did the vast majority of the fighting. This strategy kept al-Qaeda on the run, it kept the Taliban from taking control, and it kept Afghanistan from becoming a safe haven for terror. In only a matter of months, President Biden and his team have squandered all of that, squandered it. The collapse we've witnessed wasn't inevitable. It didn't happen on its own. It happened because President Biden pulled the plug on our Afghan partners and pulled the rug out from under.
Thank you, Congresswoman. We know that you have to skip soon for votes, so we're going to try to get one more in there from Patrick from Astoria. Patrick asks, what is the status of the fight for voting rights in the House now that the Freedom to Vote Act was introduced in the Senate?
Well, as we know, this fight is primarily squared and centered in the Senate. And I do believe that we are getting somewhere. And one of the reasons I believe that is because we're also starting to see support for filibuster changes really start to expand. I think for a couple of reasons. I think we're starting to see some senators soften in their stance because it wasn't just Senator Sinema and Manchin that have been holding out on abolishment of the filibuster or large changes to the filibuster. I think there were a lot of other senators that were also kind of towing this line. And I believe just the absolute assault on voting rights that we saw at state legislatures, particularly during the month of August, when much of Congress was kind of in and out of DC. And also the most recent.
Now folks, we have some big news around the $1,400 stimulus check. So in this video, I'll be bringing you up to date on the latest stimulus check information. So you want to be sure to stay until the end of this video. So the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi complained that the media is not doing a good job of selling President Biden's $3.5 trillion budget reconciliation bill. And this is the same bill that she's been able to sell to her very own party. By the way, everybody, what are your thoughts on Speaker Nancy Pelosi? Is she doing all that it takes to send out the fourth stimulus check? Tell me what you think in the comments below. So during a weekly press briefing, Pelosi said, I think all of you could do a better job of selling it because I go through lists and it goes to family medical leave and climate and the issues that are in there. And a recent poll showed that only 10% of Americans said they knew a lot of specifics on what is included in the bill. Hours after the press conference, Representative Jim Jordan slammed the Democratic messaging, saying they cannot be doing anything right. In recent weeks, the Biden administration has repeatedly said the American people support what is in the budget reconciliation. However, the exact details on what is included have not been made public as negotiations over the bill's price tag continue. The Democratic Party has been internally warring between progressives and moderates over the price of the bill. Progressives like Pramila Jayapal and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have backed Pelosi and Biden, and they support the current $3.5 trillion top-line bill, while moderates like Senator Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin have vowed not to support it in the upper chamber. 2 weeks ago, Manchin revealed his top-line number of $1.5 trillion, and Sinema has not publicly revealed how high she is willing to go. Pelosi conceded that the bill would not stay at the $3.5 trillion price tag, calling the bill transformative. She said we had some important decisions to make in the next few days so that we can proceed. And I'm very disappointed that we're not going to go with the original $3.5 trillion, which was very transformative. Do you believe that Nancy Pelosi can get the job done, everybody, and send out the fourth stimulus check? Tell me in the comments below, everybody. Now in 2021 and 2022, the average family will receive around $5,000 in stimulus money thanks to the expanded child tax credit. The money was authorized by the American Rescue Plan Act, which provided stimulus checks and expanded the tax credits. Parents used to be eligible for $2,000 for a child tax credit, only $1,400, which was refundable, and they couldn't get the money until they filed the taxes. Now, under the American Rescue Plan Act, the credit was raised to $3,600 for kids under the age of 6 and $3,000 for older children. The credit was also made fully refundable, and half of it is being delivered to people's bank accounts in payments of $250 or $300 per month from July to December of this year. President Biden and many lawmakers on the left believe that the expanded child tax credit shouldn't be a one-time credit for 2021. As part of the proposed bill called the Build Back Better Act, the credit would be expanded until either 2024 or 2025. That would mean parents would receive extra money for several more years. And given the nature of government entitlement programs, it is likely that politicians would extend it further, rather than letting it benefit people have come to depend on expire. So many Democrats and Republicans have now voted to suspend the U.S. debt limit in a new vote. So folks, a government shutdown could also lead to no more Social Security benefits. So in today's video, I will be bringing you up to date on the latest stimulus check information, as well as all the news surrounding your Social Security benefits. So you want to be sure to stay until the end of this video, folks.
You would think I'm going to talk to you about my conversations with Joe Manchin in here, if you promise not to tell anyone.
So you've had a conversation with him?
Look, I think that Joe Manchin is a great member of the Senate. We're friends. We're Italian Americans. We get along. Catholic. We have shared values. I have enormous respect for him. I had one of the joys of my service in Congress was to work with him to make sure we had the health benefits and the pension benefits for our mine workers. Not that I think clean coal is anything but, nonetheless about that. But I do believe in the workers, their needs, and the rest, and we did that at the end of last year, working together. So we have our common ground. Well, we're talking about substance. We're not talking about rhetoric, and we're not even talking about dollars. We're talking about what is important in the legislation. Where can we find our common ground? If I paid attention to everybody's public statements, oh my goodness, even some that maybe you inadvertently make that are not quite on point. But he said some other things after that said, I'm for reconciliation.
Promise is what's made the United States the leading economy in the world for so long, benefiting countless millions of families. So when we talk about extending the debt limit, that is what is at stake. All week long, Senate Democrats presented our Republican colleagues with reasonable proposals to prevent a default from happening.